Thank you. All right, good evening. Apologies for a few minute delay. We're going to call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. All righty. Moving right along, agenda adjustment this evening.
Yes, I have one. It is to add 7.4 to new business, and that is to approve the first reading of policy JICJ, cell phones and other personal electronic devices in school.
7.5, you mean? I have a 7.4.
Yeah. Yep. 7.5. Okay. Apologies.
You have the right numbers on yours. Did you?
Yeah.
All right.
This is the wrong agenda. You're good.
Oh.
Wrong agenda. 7.5. Correct.
What was that policy again, Jay?
Yep, I got you. Sorry about that. So it's 7.5. It's to approve the first reading of policy JICJ, cell phones and other personal electronic devices in school.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope. But do you want to vote on it? Do you have to vote on agenda adjustments? Do we normally? No?
No.
Okay.
No, only because it's on the agenda. If we try to do it later on, we'd have to vote.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Section 2.1, to approve the minutes of the May 27, 2026 Board of Directors meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? There is no public here, so we won't have any public comment this evening. Petitions and communications?
I have none.
Okay, I have none. And superintendent's report?
Yes. Good evening, and thank you for a few moments to share the latest regarding RSU4. It sure has been a busy last week of school, or maybe last couple of weeks. I'd like to start by thanking all of the hard-working students, staff, and parents for making the school year a successful one, and I hope that everybody has a well-deserved summer break, as tomorrow is our last day of school. I'd also like to thank our communities in support of our school budget and our school revolving renovation fund project at Libby Tozier School. Support is much appreciated as we continue to balance the needs of the school district with what the taxpayers are willing to support. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending all of the senior events at the high school, which included class day, class night, and graduation. The events were well coordinated and well attended, and I'd like to thank all the staff at the high school for supporting the class of 2026 in their efforts towards graduation. I also had the pleasure of being a guest judge for the main day event at Carrie Ricker. Students in the 4th grade researched, planned, and designed projects around a main person, place, or thing. The projects were amazing, and I truly enjoyed seeing the pride in our students' faces as they presented their items to the panel of judges. I would like to thank the 4th grade team for their efforts and invitation to be part of the event. And then for those watching online, we did have our retirement celebration for 3 of our staff members, Lorraine Curran, Deb Witham, and Bill Clark. And I do wish them all the best in retirement. And just finally, a reminder that tomorrow is our last day of school, and it's a half day, and we'll follow our regular early release schedule. And once again, I hope everybody has a great summer vacation. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Marco. Any comments, questions? All right, director's reports.
I've got the pleasure of reading a couple of bulleted items from those. So our Director of Curriculum Assessment and Instruction, Shelley Mogul, they were in your packet, by the way, but I'll read a couple highlights. Planning is underway for a new elementary STEM special with curriculum work focused on engineering, computer science, and outdoor science. The Title I team met on 6/3 to finalize planning for the upcoming year and coordinate with new team members. And elementary summer program enrollment is strong, with more students signed up compared to last year. Director of Special Education, Justin Kelleher, preparation has begun for the main DOE monitoring of special education paperwork compliance scheduled for next fall. Planning continues for extended school year services, which will serve 26 students in district and 6 students for speech services only. The application process for the local entitlement grant is open, which supports funding for areas like speech, OT, PT, transportation, and supplies. Our Director of Technology, Stephanie Weber, the department is wrapping up the school year by collecting devices and bringing the update, cleaning, and reassignment process for the 26-27 school year. Online student registration processes are proceeding well. The recently implemented online applicant tracker has been effective in helping to fill open positions with new employees. Our Director of Transportation, Sheena Jordan, the team held a monthly transportation safety meeting and successfully completed all required bus evacuation drills. Inventory was increased and replacement costs saved by retrieving 16 district-owned new tires and wheel assemblies from a previous mechanic, which is pretty fantastic. The transportation department is fully staffed with the full-time driver's positions filled. Sean Knox, our Director of Operations. The team completed several projects during April break and is currently handling outdoor spring cleaning and various projects such as fertilizing and field repairs. Summer planning is underway for maintenance and inspections, including pavement repairs, siding and window work, and safety assessments. And the Safety Committee concluded its final meeting of the year, which included a review of the recent reunification exercise and planning for a June safety assessment. Also responsible for nutrition is Sean Knox. And what do we have here? That's not a bulleted list. Okay, well, I don't have that. It looks like he's got a lot here, though. Nutrition, let's see, here we go. April and May paced along with serving over 17,000 meals for the month of May among the 4 schools. And one area to highlight is our shared menu planning, as the team is sharing more menu ideas with each other to better understand how to utilize our discounted food from the United States Department of Agriculture. One other thing I'd like to report on, and this is from Jim Palmer, our Adult Ed and Athletic Director. A couple of items here. So Jim reports that he had in Adult Ed 9 students completed. And this year, instead of doing the traditional Adult Ed graduation, they did it individually. So they had families come in for students who wanted to participate. They did have only a couple of kids that were wanting to do that. But Jim reported that they were very special in the sense that they were able to celebrate together and really recognize the student. Jim said some really nice things to each of the kids or about each of the kids. And so that was really well done. And then also just to highlight about one of our adult education students who was very persistent and earned their high school diploma by earning 10 credits through adult education. And Jim reports that it's very rare that a student will stay for that long in a program, but it's very rewarding when he to witness the completion of that. Also, the athletic season is winding down with 2 of our teams participating in playoffs. Our cooperative girls lacrosse team with Lewiston will play their first playoff game tonight in Yarmouth. Our girls softball team will travel to Lisbon to play in the quarterfinals tomorrow, which is Thursday at 4. Other exciting news includes our girls tennis team winning the Maine Principals Association Sportsmanship Award in Class C South. They worked really hard this year to change their team culture, so we're very proud of this accomplishment. We also had a student athlete on our cooperative track team with Lipson win a state championship as a freshman. Jillian Smith won the state championship in the javelin in Class C and will compete in the New England Championship meet this coming Saturday. We've also had several athletes earn all conference selections, both first team and second team, in our spring programs. That's great. This concludes the director's reports.
Javelin. That's interesting.
I know, right? How cool is that?
I have a question. Do we have an update on the team that went to California? Was it academic decathlon?
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Didn't. I mean, they came back. Is that what you're wondering?
Did Aspen
did-
tell us
Aspen,
I
I think
don't- did she
Aspen
tell
did
us
report
that?
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did. Yeah.
that? Right.
Yeah,
It was
Sue.
in our report
Oh, and that
last
was the
month.
ones from California. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I missed that it was the California one.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Cool.
So there were individualized medals that the students won. Aspen did report on that. Appreciate that, Sue. Thank you. That's good. That's good, Nicole.
All right. I forget a lot of things, by the way.
Well, join the club. We're all there.
We have nothing for old business, so moving on to our new business, 7.1, to approve the superintendent to issue contracts during the month of July and August.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All right, hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? Seven dot two, to approve the school physician Carol Mansfield, MD, Title 20-A, Section 6402-A, School Health Advisor.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Just for people's reference, if you're new to this, so this is just something that's required that we have a doctor who oversees our nurses, so that helps with making sure that we can follow doctor's orders, if you will. So they're under that guidance, the umbrella of the doctor, so that we can do that. It's pretty standard practice. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Right, gonna call for the vote. All those in favor? Seven dot three, to approve that the computation and declaration of votes dated and attached here to be, and it is hereby approved, and further that the computation and declaration of votes be entered upon the records of Regional School Unit Number 4, the Regional School Unit, and further that a certified copy of the computation and declaration of votes be sent to each of the municipal clerks with the regional school unit for the SRRF.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All right. Hearing none, I'm going to call for the votes. All those in favor?
I do have a document that you guys will need to sign before you leave this evening in regards to both SRF and the budget.
Yep. So 7.4, to approve that the computation and declaration of votes dated and attached here to be, and it is hereby approved, and further that the computation and declaration of votes be entered upon the records of Regional School Unit Number 4, the Regional School Unit, and further that a certified copy of the computation and declaration of votes be sent to each of the municipal clerks with the Regional School Unit for the budget.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, I'm going to call for the votes. All those in favor? All right, 7.5, to approve the first reading of policy JICJ, cell phones and other personal electronic devices in school.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. And this looks like it's being passed around right now. Go ahead, Doug.
You said this was first reading, correct?
First reading.
Yeah, just double check.
Yeah, I can give you some time to read it through if you'd like. We've been fortunate to have, I feel like, and Matt, Scott, I know that Christy's not here, and Diane, we've had conversation about this policy, and true to the policies committee's form, if you will, we do a good job of having solid discussion around policies and adjusting them as the committee sees fit to best fit our schools. This is one that's I would say, I don't know, maybe not controversial is the right word, but there's a lot of implications with it. So I just feel like there was good conversation regards to the subcommittee's discussion. So, I mean, please, Scott, Matt, Diane, you guys are more than willing to weigh in or talk about it, but it's been good as far as the conversation is concerned. That's my humble opinion, I guess. Yeah.
I guess just for public record, wanted to say that this statute was a provision with the supplemental budget, and therefore circumvented the typical process of becoming a statute. So, folks like the Department of Education, teachers, superintendents didn't really get to weigh in on this. So this is kind of just heavy-handed forced upon us to put through. We took the sample policy, we ripped it apart pretty good. I think we came up with a pretty solid plan, but anyway, that being said, with not really having a say in this matter and having to put this policy through, I think they did open up a big can of worms with this one in several different areas. And one of them being this policy still includes this section, if you look on the back, where it talks about not being responsible for, and Marco, I don't know if we talked about this in our last meeting last night, but as far as coming up with if you did any research and.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Scott. Yeah. I mean, so I spent some time talking with Tom, with our legal counsel, in regards to that specific paragraph. And what his experience with that is just like what we gave for an example the other night. So Scott used a great one because we've run into this before, where it's like kids bring all kinds of items to school, right? And sometimes it's like, their earbuds or an expensive pair of shoes. That was the example we used the other night. It was like a pair of Air Jordans, right? And they put it in the locker room and somebody takes them, right? As a school, we're not liable, right, to replace those, because, they're bringing it onto school property. And so that was, that's kind of spawned the discussion, like, do we need to be thoughtful? Because we're not talking about, Air Jordans are expensive sneakers, right? But with that being said, we're not talking about a $1,200, $2,000 phone, whatever they are, right? So in talking with Tom today, Scott, he told us, or he told me that we were spot on in our thinking in regards to, like, applies the same as it would for a pair of sneakers or anything else that we're bringing into school. We're not liable for those things. If you bring it into the building, that's something that's on, the student or the parent, as far as, like, making sure that, they understand that it's out there. And that's essentially what he said. The reason that paragraph is in there is so that people are aware. So, it was good as far as that communication was concerned, because
I
it
still
helped.
have a concern with that, only because with the sneaker scenario, that's the student's responsibility. They put them in an area that was unsafe and they were stolen, what have you. In this scenario, we're taking this from them, and it's now in the district's possession, administration's possession. So. We're taking on that responsibility, so that's kind of still. Did you mention anything about the potential for having a waiver?
I asked him about a waiver, but he said it wasn't necessary because of this paragraph.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if we probably need to give more thought. We'd also discuss the possibility of having, like, a check sheet or something where when we're taking possession of a device that we're making sure it's in good operating order, marking down, is it scratched, is the screen broken? Because when the student takes possession of their device back, who's to say, oh, well, this my screen wasn't cracked when I
Right.
gave it to you, when you
Right.
took it from me,
Right.
or I didn't have this great big scratch on my case when you took it from me.
Right.
So I don't know necessarily if that needs to be written into the policy, or if it's just something we have to put into a handbook. But
Sure.
I don't really want to get into the weeds, but I'm not sure.
Well, I think it's
I can just foresee some things happening.
no, and I think what's great is you're speaking their language. You know, Sue and John are still here with us this evening, but you're speaking their language, right? Like it's something that they think about, you know, when you take possession of somebody's stuff, whatever it might be, right? And ultimately, as I mentioned the other night, like, you know, we're very conscious, or they're very conscious of making sure that they know whose phone it is and that kind of stuff. But ultimately, you're right. It might be something that we have to be mindful of as we're, you know, and the hope is that like the policy is, the hope is the policy goes into place, things are smooth, people understand what they need to do, but ultimately things come up, right? And that it may need to be thoughtful about that. I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Matt.
You all done? I just wanted to add, excuse me, under what Scott was saying about how this came down and kind of the heavy-handedness of it. One of our main focuses of this was to, in adopting this as our own policy, was to make sure that it really didn't go above and beyond what was absolutely necessary. Wanted to keep it as minimal as possible. So.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Matt, I mean, when you say minimal as possible, like required by law, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The baseline.
Right.
Go ahead, Doug.
This was kind of mentioned before, but can just a reminder for myself and for the audience, who is this from, and what exactly
Yeah.
is this is directing this?
Yeah.
You know,
Are you talking about the statute or the policy itself?
the statute that required the policy.
Yeah.
Just to put all that information in one spot.
Appreciate
you
it,
know,
Doug.
For the
Yeah.
audience.
No, that's good.
So, what required us to come up with this policy? You know,
State law.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the state law.
Yeah. It was
is-
through a supplemental budget measure is what it came down from the governor, right? Hence, if you don't mind, Scott, like hence
Go ahead.
Scott's comment in regards to like the legislative process. Do you know what I mean? So like legislatively, you know, when you go through, you know, the motions to enact it into law, and you know, there's a provision there that the governor can do these things, you know, and they did it through the supplemental budget. So they're requiring us to have this policy in place as a
Did-
result of the law.
Did they explain why they did that and
Yeah.
why it's
It's a good question, Doug. So like, just on this document, so like, you know, the policy committees worked through this, but there was like a rationale or an explanation, you know, in regards to cell phones being a distraction, you know, things of that nature, you know, and wanting to do something about it. That's the rationale that the policy, the draft policy had in it.
They claim it for educational purposes. It's supposed to cut down on distractions and improve the educational quality of what's going on in the classroom. However, if you do enough research, you'll find studies that contradict that. So I don't think that they did their due diligence on this, passing this, and I certainly don't think that they thought everything through. I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be very disruptive.
there's more holes in this than there is Swiss cheese. It's just there's like a lot of stuff that you're opening up. I don't know. Just again, you circumvent the legislative process. You don't have people giving input. And this is the result, in my opinion.
And we didn't have the language on this until a week ago.
Oh well, the
2
the
weeks
draft
ago?
policy was it was a couple of weeks ago.
2 weeks ago we met.
from
Yeah.
the legislation.
The actual statute language.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's funny because it says in the law, right? Like it's been, I mean, I don't know, it's been kind of fascinating because, you know, you're reading the law, then you're reading the policy, and you're matching the two, and okay, what makes sense for the school district, right? But I lost my train of thought.
Sequence of events.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not important now. I
You-
apologize.
You just gotta feel like there's something more nefarious. Like, why put through a school school statute with a budget? I don't. And circumvent the process. Like, why aren't you willing to have the hearings? I don't.
The other thing I just want to mention too, as far as like the conversation around this, so we talked a lot about the middle school's policy, or I would say procedure, when it comes to cell phones, and so essentially we were mirroring that for the high school. It's something that our current middle school students, as they move up, are familiar with, and so the hope is that it transitions through smoothly. And there's provisions in there for building administrators to make exceptions, or if they need to adjust some things as far as different situations are concerned, or if it's allowed for something specific, administration can make those determinations, which is helpful. So in action, it's a little bit more pliable. Go ahead. Yep.
I mean, we're kind of asking questions now about how this policy would be in effect, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm like reading it. It says that an emergency situation is authorized by the building administrator in accordance with the school unit's health and safety and emergency planning, or is determined by administration. What if there's like a family member that is ill or something, and you need to be able to contact the student individually to let them know the status, or if some sort of, would that constitute as that, and could they have their phone on to
Right.
be able to receive that message?
So ultimately what it comes down to, right, is that, we would prefer, I would say preference would be that they contact the main office, right? And then that we're helping support that, because especially in your situation, Doug, we would want to make sure that we have eyes on that student, just given the social and emotional toll that may take on a specific situation, right? And so with that being said, right, they would come down to the office and they could have the conversation there, or it's easy enough for them to then have their cell phone, do you know what I mean, to make a call. So like a designated area, a designated area, maybe privately. We've done that in the past where we've had kids use my office because I need to have a personal phone call with somebody. It could be something specific like that. Yep.
Yeah.
Can I just add, if you look at the very last paragraph, the first sentence, the superintendent, building administrators will be responsible for developing and implementing procedures to implement/enforce this policy. We left this super open to interpretation, right? And because it can evolve, it can change. Administration can kind of manipulate this as needed. And we kind of toyed around with the idea of possibly like allowing students to go down to the office and ask permission to use the phone. So like if they felt like there was a situation they needed to call home, we're kind of hoping that the administration will be able to implement something where they can just, if they feel like they need to call home, they can go down to the office, ask permission, and then use their phones.
Yeah. It's zero issue.
Yeah. So again, we made this very like minimal so that we can expand upon it, change it, tweak it as we go.
Yeah.
Just a question, because I've had some parents ask me, as well as some students, since this is a bell-to-bell, how does that impact kids who leave early to go to a sport? Is that still considered their bell-to-bell if they leave?
No,
Or
I
is it
know.
just
It's
in
like
the school?
right in the
Okay,
school,
all right.
Diane. So like it's one of those, and it's a great question because we did this too, right? Like, obviously, if kids are leaving for a sporting event, we're not going to say,
That's what I
"Well,
figured.
you know what I mean?
I'm gonna
You better
ask
leave it
just so you
behind."
Yeah.
And the law only says bell to bell.
That's
At-
correct.
So literally bell to bell. So as soon
at the school.
yep.
Yeah,
in the-
exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good. I'm glad you asked it, Diane. It's important.
Is the current middle school policy that the students have their cell phone, they can have it off in their backpack, or is it
Correct.
okay.
Yeah, off in their backpack, right? Off in their locker. We even talked the other day about in their cases. Do you know what I mean? Silenced in their cases, just to they need to be so that they're not using them.
And so the confiscation, if it's confiscated during the day, that's the concern, is what happens to it at that point if
That's
they have an offense.
Yeah, that's correct, right? And so, and I might ask Sue or John to come forward just to give you an example of kind of how that works. Just because I think it's important to know, their perspective on it. But, ultimately, if if a teacher is asking a student to come down to the office because they've had a phone issue, right? There's a conversation that happens with the administrators, in regards to, what are we going to do next? How are we going to figure this out? But if you don't mind, John, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Sue and I were looking at the word, confiscated, which maybe isn't our favorite word. I mean, it sounds kind of negative, right? So, I mean, I think, how we go about that is obviously we're having a conversation with a student and, talking about the rule, and hopefully there's some compliance there. There'll obviously be, it's different, right? And change is hard. So it's like, we're not grabbing phones from kids. We're not doing that, right? We're having that conversation through young adults, talking about where we need to put it, get it in a secure spot, talk about them picking up at the end of the day. That happens some now, right? If we deem that it's become a distraction to the point where it's disrupting learning now. But, there'll be some, and I don't know what you want to say about it, but we're still trying to have that relationship with that student, also making them understand, like, it's not our, in this particular case, this is not our battle, so to speak, right? It is the state law. And, we want to make sure to keep those good relationships and sort of have that conversation and get that transfer, in an easy, sort of peaceful way.
Yeah, I want to add that this isn't something that we want to do either. We don't want kids. I don't want their phone. I really don't. But I have to follow the policy, and I don't want it to become parents against Mrs. Rennie and Mr. Springer. That's not what we're in this job for, honestly. I wanted to say this because this comes up all the time, and I know there's data. This thing will not save your child or your grandchild during a crisis. They need to be focused on what is going on, where to go, how to stay safe. Take the phone with you, sure, but not a priority. Okay? There is not one staff member in that school that would not stand in front of your child. They need to be respectful and follow the policy. I know this is not my box to stand on, but it's going to be mine to have to handle and John's to have to handle. If you really want your child to be safe, teach them how to pay attention, focus, get them ready now. Teach them how to email. They can email you all day long. They can email us. Yes, they can bring their phone down. I need to make a phone call. That happens now. And most of the cell phones actually don't work well in our school. It's just a bad spot. So they use my landline. And it's interesting, they don't know how to use that, but it's okay. It's a learning opportunity. And I would also ask, like Bill said, please take a look at putting some money into the front door of that high school. It needs to be more secure. The cameras need to be better. I don't want anything to happen. I really don't. And I know everything costs money. I do. But I love your kids as much as you do. And I want them to be safe, and I want them to have the best education, and I want the teachers to be supported, and I want the admin to be supported. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's back to the confiscation thing. I think we're not gonna, that's our job, right? We're not gonna set up a procedure where we're gonna ask our staff members, to get in that role, right? Because then it's more complicated. We can be sure how we're gonna deal with it consistently with each student. So when we talk about that procedurally, we're not gonna put them in that spot, and like having them come down, we deal with that. It's a much more private place to deal with it if there's a concern. So, and we want, I guess the biggest thing is, we don't want this to jeopardize the relationships we want to have with kids because we have this policy. I think that is the biggest thing for us.
I think that's just my main concern is consistency. So that was going to be my question. Just like when you leave it to the teachers on whether or not they want to say the Pledge of Allegiance, it's that's where you get into trouble. Because one class does it this way, the other class does it this way. So that's the approach I prefer. And
Can I just make sure that we're clear that that's not happening, right?
maybe not this year, but it did
All right,
last school year.
let's just I just want to make sure that that's clear. Like we're not.
But that's
all right,
that's
all
what
right.
happens when you leave things up to teachers.
Well,
right?
it's also like again, it's school wide, right? So and I'm sorry, I'm not
Yes.
trying to. I think your point is well taken in the sense that it's going to take everybody, being on board, doing the same thing, in order for it to come to fruition in the right way.
Yep. And even the building administrators, I want to make sure that they are also aligned and not. I mean, I think it's odd that the middle school had a policy. I don't know if the high school did.
Yeah, so we have a policy. I mean, I think this is
Or
pretty
procedure.
consistent transition to other schools I've been at, where you have a more restrictive policy, particularly in a middle school that involves 4 grades. It's more challenging, and then the sort of as students prior to now got to high school, that there was sort of having that off, not disrupting class, but there was a lot more as they get older, flexibility around having it during the day. So it's pretty typical. Obviously, that will be different, but so I think from middle school to high school, that's a pretty typical transition in most schools.
So you did have one too.
Yes, we have
Okay.
one, but the difference will be sort of not out between classes or at lunch or things like that.
Robbie, did you have your hand? Oh, okay. You got.
Just to kind of reiterate something that you mentioned was the students can still email their parents, and their parents could still email the student at any time because they'll still have their iPad, laptop, and have access to that. Okay, I think that's worth reiterating what you said in between all the other important stuff you said. So for parents or whatever, if you're listening to that, it's an important point to keep in mind during this process,
So
I guess.
foolish. You send unlimited emails, and that's okay. But a text message, we have a problem with that. You can even email your friends. Hey, whatever.
Could email the
but a
buddy
text
next to you.
message, that's where we draw the line. Or a phone call.
I was going to say Doug, something that you. Boy, I'm struggling. I was up late last night waiting for those results to come in. I don't know, Doug. You had a nice point that I was going to jump off of. Now I can't recall what it was. Oh, messaging. There it is. So just, we were talking about people listening or, to this discussion. Obviously, we'll have a second reading in regards to it, but we'll make sure that the messaging is out there. You know what I mean? So that people are aware and, how it will work. And it'll be a learning curve. I mean, just like anything new, it's the way that it will, roll out,
Go ahead, Matt.
So the whole, messaging, emailing on the iPads, laptops. I mean, students can message each other or email each other, right? Is any of that communication monitored? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's part
It
of the
is,
difference
Matt.
too, right?
Yeah. And just so you know, we use used to be Gaggle. What's it
Securely.
Securely, yeah. So essentially it was for inappropriate messaging or emails that would go back and forth, or even documents that kids, because another thing, not that I'm going to give anybody any ideas, but you open a Google Doc and you share it with somebody and you can, chat back and forth. But that's monitored in regards to our programming that we have. And so if there's things about,
Trigger words or
right, exactly, violence or, swear words, that kind of stuff, we get an alert about it. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Scott.
Maybe this would be a good time to ask the director of technology. I believe there's a limitation for email for middle school and younger, lower grades. Because I know, my daughter is unable to send an email to my personal email account from her RSU email, but my son at the high school level can. So I don't know
Interesting.
if that's
Correct. Right now, the middle school is limited to, and elementary, to only send emails within the district.
Within the district.
So will we
okay.
have to look at changing that policy?
I mean, that's not a policy.
No,
that's
it's
just
not
a-
policy. It's
Policy, but
it's our practice.
just
yeah.
what was
Practice. Is
in
that something
place
we
when
need to
I
look
got
at
here.
changing practice? Because now we're talking about at any time feeling free to email your parents. So an eighth
I-
grader currently would not be able to do that.
I also want to add that with Reach My Teach, they are trying to also help with this and make parents feel more comfortable. So having the Reach My Teach app, it's a feature that we'd be able to turn on so that parents and students can communicate if needed.
Well, it's good to know. Appreciate that. We definitely take a look at it too. You know, as far as the restriction that's there. My guess is that it's preventative. Although if we do have, and I'm thinking just like predator type of activity. You know.
Well, that's just
Yeah.
it. If you
You know what I
take
mean?
that firewall off,
Yeah.
now you're opening it up to.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
You
Oh,
could
that's it.
whitelist
I mean,
though.
You find a way, right?
You can whitelist email addresses. So like you have the email address and the contact that the parent signs or now puts into
I
the.
won't be able to filter in.
We can't whitelist.
Not everyone in the district can grab those.
Okay. It's good to know. I mean,
I just want to clarify that the phones at the high school are used a lot more on social media. TikToks this week have been driving me crazy. Texting mom and dad is not always the first thing they're doing. So they can communicate with email if they really need to. And in the policy, there's a medical waiver as well. I just want to make sure that people are clear that, there are exceptions for medical reasons.
Yeah.
Students have their devices hooked up to their phones to read their numbers.
Yeah.
That is something that, it's reasonable, obviously.
and or as determined by administration. Again, I feel like the subcommittee did a nice job in leaving a fair amount of flexibility there as needed.
Go ahead, Diane.
I would just like to say something because we're putting this on our kids, but as adults, a lot of the adults in our schools, staff members, could be anybody, are using their phones a lot in front of our kids. So I would like to see them limit that so that doesn't become an issue with our kids as well. You have a staff member who's the class is testing or whatever, and they're sitting there and they're on their phone. So that is a distraction for our students. So I would like to encourage our staff members to please refrain from using their phones in front of students so that this issue can be easily solved.
Yeah, I mean, Sue and I've talked about this. It'll be a point of discussion, right? I mean, even for myself, I do a lot of email on my phone during the day. I didn't have a lot of emails, but I do get them, and so I'm even going to have to change my practices to some degree. But yes, I mean, we're prepared to have that conversation as we start the year that, sure, you're adults and you're not students, and there are times when you're not in front of students, sure, but we have to be, being setting that model that students can't have their phones out during class.
So why should that? Yeah,
And we can't have staff doing that either.
correct.
Lead by example.
Exactly.
Lead by example.
Yeah, because I've been subbing, and I go by rooms that people are subbing, and they're on their phones, and it's like if we want our kids to live by these rules, then we as adults need to do that as well.
And they accept it easier too.
Right.
And that's why
becomes
this
normal.
law, again, I mean, it's such a missed opportunity. I mean, look around. Almost everybody has their phone right in front of them. Nobody's
Right.
touched it,
Right.
right? Because you're able to refrain from doing that. And this is something that they have to learn because they're going to be adults at some point in time in the workplace or wherever. and
Where
you
it's
have
not
to-
allowed on the floor.
Right. Right. So
Yep.
Unfortunately, you're taking that teachable moment away. But what are you gonna do? It's the
But
law.
I think they're young. So as a teacher, I know how distracting it can be. I mean, we've had phones go off in the hallways, and it's like, the phone's going off, and so you've lost them. So it takes 15 to 20 minutes to get them back. So,
Little guys.
We
Yeah.
had beepers. Who had beepers?
oh
and-
yeah, we've had some of those too.
I had a beeper. I didn't have
I think
cell phones.
we were careful when we wrote parts of this too, because I mean I felt pretty strongly about missing that opportunity, and I think by allowing them to continue to carry these on their person or in their bags or what have you, but not access them during the day. I mean that is the teachable moment, right? That's
That's the
going to be
best
that's
outcome,
going to
too.
be a big
Yeah.
you know temptation that
That's
they're
true.
gonna have to
Because
learn about and work
Right.
on.
I agree with you, Scott, and I'm hoping that parents practice that this summer. Take those phones and put them down, put them away, shut them off, and then positively and give them positive feedback. I love that you're making eye contact. I'm glad you didn't need your phone. Exactly. The phone is always a teachable moment. Again, we got to lead by example. We have to be role models. And when a kid comes home from school, put your phone away and talk. You know, there's places to learn everywhere.
We talked about also, it was more towards the liability issue of the, confiscation, but with the back to school packets that we sending out a waiver that they have to sign acknowledging, that this is how it is now. So
appreciate that, Matt,
Well,
because it could be something that, like, we work with Stephanie on, is because I know I have to do it with my kids' stuff. I can't remember what the acknowledgement is, but as part of the acknowledgement that you realize that this is the policy that's in place. Yeah,
Well, it's part of the handbook too. We sign off on that.
Devices.
yeah. No, but I mean, you're talking individually, like parents. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be on our back to school forms in Power School, and it has the link to the specific policies for internet use, computer use, and this policy we'll have to add once we have it. So it'll be right there that they've.
Great. Thank you,
Acknowledged.
Stephanie, for that. Appreciate it.
So does anybody have any direction, edits, or anything that they want to send back to the committee before second reading? Go ahead, Doug.
Again, I think it's pretty important, the email component. Could we include that as a note in there so that when a parent reads this policy, they know that they can still contact their student or their son or daughter or whatever, could contact them through email if they feel like they want to still have some way to be contacted? Is that acceptable to include in the policy instead of just being tribal knowledge that you can do it? Like
Go ahead, John.
I mean, obviously that's your decision, but it feels like something more we would include in handbooks.
Handbook. Yeah.
in the handbook.
And a
I guess I
procedure.
just want it written somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
normally we would
it's
probably
fine.
include that more as a procedure for the school in a handbook. Like, these are the encouraged
Okay.
ways to contact, the students contact parents, whether it's Reach My Teach, if that can happen, because that to a parent, that will feel like a text through Reach My Teach, right? So we can, that's where I would think it would live.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I tried to use that app like a week ago, and it froze and was spinning, and I
Yeah.
picked up my phone and called the school.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I guess what I'm advocating is just in writing somewhere that a parent can read it. They
Yeah.
would know that
Mm.
that's an option,
Appreciate
so
that,
that
Doug.
it's flushed out a little bit
Yeah.
better for everybody.
I think we should have the
Is it-
committee review the IJNDB policy. Perhaps we can add some language in there to that policy as far as
We can definitely take it up. There's no issue with that, Scott.
maybe we could just add in there as far as
We-
something to do with at your own risk, bringing phones into school at your own risk. And
Right. Let me. I can take a. I mean, we can take that up as a revision to the policy if you want.
Yeah, I guess I
Yeah,
don't know.
we can-
I don't know it well enough off the top of my head.
Oh, me, me either.
I don't know. It may already contain some language like that.
Yeah.
But is that do we know? Is that the policy that talks about lost, stolen, damaged computers and school computers.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm guessing, Scott. I would assume so.
Maybe we can add something in there for personal devices as well.
Yeah.
I was actually looking for a policy, as you guys were talking earlier on, about just like bringing personal items and belongings. I know we have to have one somewhere, unless it was just in the handbook, which is why I had the handbook open.
We
So
had one for Carrie Rick right now not to bring certain things to
yeah,
school.
because I mean, the kids are, the younger kids, they're told, don't bring your dolly and don't bring your Nintendo Switch.
Don't bring cash with you.
Yeah.
Lots of cash. Don't
Yeah,
bring lots of
$50
cash
for the
with you.
book fair.
I know.
Marco,
Just
do you have
gotta
any
be careful.
idea why
What?
GBCC employee use of cell phones is cross-referenced in this?
Oh, probably because it's a policy in regards to employee use of cell phones, right? And like, my guess is that because I don't believe we have that policy, but we could take a look at it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think maybe we should.
Yep.
Do we have that, Nicole? Are you in there?
I don't think that we do.
I am in there, and we do not.
Cool. More policies.
So I don't think we can approve this policy referencing a policy that doesn't exist for us.
Would you like me to strike it at this point
So I
in
think
time?
that is my only.
I can.
yeah,
It's easy enough to.
recommendation to
I'll
go
draw a
back
line
to-
right through it right now.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't want to dwell on it, but the only other word that I didn't really like was the school unit will not be responsible for, but because you said liable, I thought liable might be better.
That's my. I mean, that was my word.
I like that word better
I don't
than
know. I mean,
responsible.
which is best?
But
I agree
it's-
because you are in fact responsible when you're taking possession of something.
What's the difference? And I don't. I'm just curious. That's all.
Well, if you're making yourself not liable for it, then
Then I'm
you're
not.
not liable when you take possession. Versus if you're responsible for it, then you're responsible for it when you take possession.
Hmm.
There's a difference, I think. In those
I have
words.
no problem with making the change. I mean, I can have it prepared for the next reading.
yeah, I
if that
just
works.
like liable better than
Oh.
responsible. That's
Yeah.
just me.
You're welcome. I'll put that in there.
I just had a question, and I might be reading it wrong, but the first sentence, this policy applies to all student personal. Should student be possessive or plural? Are we talking about all students, the students, or a student?
Could be
I
Believe-
think it needs to be
S.
possessive plural. Yeah.
Okay.
Students' personal electronic devices.
Possessive plural. That's the S with the
Right, but
Apostrophe
this
at
would
the
be
end.
S apostrophe, right?
S
'cause it's
apostrophe,
students.
correct.
Yeah.
plural.
Where's,
Possessive. I like that everybody's
where's,
going.
the ELA? Where's our grammar coaches tonight?
Well, I hear John had a good one in 6th grade. You said 6th grade. Yeah. Dib with him.
Ask Grammarly.
She had to go to band practice.
She did have to go to band practice. That's good.
Yeah, other than that, I was fine with it. I don't think that there's anything else.
Where was the? I'm sorry. Where was the liable? Oh, right here. Got it.
Yeah.
Is there another word we can use instead of confiscated? Because I know John said he didn't really like that
So
word.
before, and not to interject, but before you answer, John, that's in their handbook.
What is?
Confiscated. It's in the Oak Hill High School handbook already. So
I mean,
I know it's got
the phone will
It's
be
a-
turned over to
it,
and
it's
stored.
aggressive word, but it's already in the student handbook.
Stolen by force?
Taken.
Stolen by
Confiscated
Snatched.
means
Yeah, I mean, I guess that when we first read it, I mean, it's fine either way. We're going to conduct ourselves. We want to have good relationships with our kids, just like I talked about. But it's like it does feel a little bit more like if you're reading that I'm going to literally rip it out of your hands.
Yeah.
Potentially, I'm going to get it no matter what, as opposed to will be turned over, or that's the student doing the action rather than us doing the
Right.
action. I guess would be the difference in the wording.
I don't believe. Trying to think back, I don't have the statute in front of me, but I don't believe it tells us in there that we have to take phones from students.
It does not.
So that part of it, I think, was just kind of like what is going to be our step process.
That's right.
So if there's other suggestions as to what we should do,
I think it's about communication.
right?
I mean, if you could have a conversation.
Robbie,
with
sorry, your microphone, buddy.
Oh.
You're all right, bud. You're all right. I mean, you're loud enough for us. That's for sure.
I'm I'm just saying it's about communication. So if you can have a conversation with the student and say, "Hey, look, we saw you looking at your phone. Put it away.
Yeah.
We don't have to confiscate it yet.
Yeah.
If you do what you need to do."
Yeah, no, we didn't want to go right to taking the
Right,
phone away.
yeah.
This is all about it being
Yeah.
a teachable, learnable lesson.
Right.
So
Just like all our discipline.
Just to reiterate, we do not want to possess phones. We don't
Right.
want
Yeah.
them. We,
Don't
really,
want
we
it.
will do our job, but we don't want them.
Yeah.
Um,
If you took confiscated out of there, parents might like that more.
so if you do that, just
Doesn't sound like you're pulling it out of their hand.
update your handbook too, right?
I guess the question
But-
is though, when it gets to be too much, what do we do then with that individual student and that phone?
Yeah.
What is that next step?
Yeah,
Yes.
we've had Matt. I mean, in some situations, we've told kids do not bring it to school. I mean, we've had some significant issues with cell phones, right? Whether it's threats, who knows? I mean, it runs right all over the place. But we have told parents, student is not allowed to bring it to school. Please do not bring it to school. And I mean, that's after working with the student, trying to get them to comply, working with the parent, having a conversation, having a meeting. You know what I mean? Going right through the graduated discipline. But ultimately, what it comes down to is this is a huge distraction. Your kid can't do their work. They're not focused on what's going on. It needs to stay home.
Well, the thing is, you can't go over every scenario because if you've seen an adult lose their cell phone and how crazy they can get about it, it's it can get pretty intense.
No, I mean, that's true. I mean, what if I just look at it, see what time it is? Is that using my phone? Does that constitute a?
Well, that's
firm-
because
Can't tell there's a
You-
clock on the wall.
Scott, you would have been in violation because it was out, buddy. We should have nailed you earlier.
Right.
Scott, if
I
you
don't
could
know.
put that
Does
in the,
constitute just where if I've already gone through first offense, second offense, and I look at the time on my, like, I don't know. We do have clear guidelines in this policy.
That's right.
First offense, second offense.
That's right.
But there's nothing that says that you can't have multiple first offenses or second offenses either. Like,
Right. I mean, ultimately, right? Like, I mean, again, we try to be as consistent as possible, but each situation is different, right? So you're right, Scott. It may be that, like, I've had to warn you 2 or 3 times, right? Like, it's not always as scripted as something like this. That's correct.
I knew this was coming down the pike, right? And so the two times we had 2 teacher conferences throughout the school year, I made a point to ask a lot of the teachers about this, and that the feedback was very similar. It's like,
Yeah.
if we see them using it, we ask them to put it away, it goes away. This isn't an issue.
Yeah.
So
They're pretty good, Scott. I would say that you're right. They're pretty good within the classroom. What ends up happening though is the stuff that happens outside of the classroom that administration, John and Sue end up having to deal with because of it, right? So like, they're posting things, they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and then,
but how does this policy change what's happening outside of the classroom? I mean, during bell to bell. But
well, during
outside
bell
of
to bell.
there's-
Well, you're right. It's not. You're right, Scott. You're right with that. You're right. It doesn't change like, I text message my friend, and we're not friends anymore at night, and then all of a sudden we're in the building, and are we friends or not friends? I don't know. I don't have my phone to check in.
yeah, I mean, we're not,
I don't know.
we're concerned obviously within the building, but we're not going to fix a societal concern through our policy fully. We'll still have some of that will show up in our office. So
Yeah, I want to see. I know you sent it to me too, but I want to see like the actual statute.
I have it.
Have a
In the
copy
meantime,
of it,
I
too.
came up with the perfect wording. The student will be required to relinquish control of the device to the administration.
Relinquish control.
Relinquish control.
Yep.
I guess we could talk about this offline. It's not what it says, but I'm not a lawyer. It
No,
says
we work-
restrict. It says restrict use.
Oh,
doesn't
which
say
we did.
Prohibit.
We're restricting it.
Yeah. So do we restrict it just to social media?
It
Do we
doesn't say
restrict it-
prohibit. So can
restricted.
No, I think if you read, there is a line in there.
Yeah.
Because I
Christy,
questioned the same thing.
yeah, Christy brought it or pointed it out to us.
Keep reading. There's another. I think.
The policy must restrict student use of cellular telephones.
Yeah, keep going.
And including exceptions. Oh, there, a policy prohibiting. There it is.
It's the first
Okay,
line.
The first line. But then the policy, that's so contradictory. You must implement a policy prohibiting student use. The policy must restrict student use.
Correct.
Why would you change the word?
I don't know. I didn't write the
That's
law.
not- yeah, it's
I didn't write the law. Okay.
Okay,
So sorry. So I've got my work here that I need to do. Which I did. I crossed out the cross reference and changed the word liable. And the plural possessive. That's good, you guys.
Matt gets a gold star, Sam.
It's true. Oh wait, where are our stickers? Oh, Doug, nope, no more comments.
What about my relinquished control part?
Oh,
You relinquish control.
That's my closing. That's my magnum opus. School ordinance that I've done.
I'll put it up. I was gonna say, yeah, I'll put it in parentheses. Yeah, exactly.
all right. Anything else for first reading, folks?
Thanks for kicking it around, you guys. Appreciate it. It's good. Thanks, John, Sue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is that why you stayed? Your input was very valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you guys stuck around. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You don't want to stay for the rest of the boringness?
It's not really a whole lot.
I don't think there's any. Yeah, we don't really have. We have our committees, right? So what do? I got a motion on the floor, folks. Right?
We got to vote on it.
We vote against it, right? No, we voted for.
First
We voted
reading.
for the first reading.
Right.
So, but we're sending it back.
Well, I'm gonna make the changes and bring it for a second reading.
So we're gonna. So I'm gonna amend the amend the motion to accept with changes. Or yeah.
We don't need to amend it because we were just looking at
That's
it.
the first
We haven't
reading.
voted on our motion yet, though.
Yeah,
The motion was for the first reading.
Yeah.
and we
We had
approved that
discussion.
with discussion.
So then, what are we voting on? That we had a first reading?
Yes.
Yep.
That we're voting to send it back.
Voting to send it back.
No, we're not sending.
We're not
just doing
sending
the
it
first
back.
reading.
No. We're not sending it back. Right.
You're just making
Right. We're just making the changes.
approve with
Making
changes.
changes. That's what I mean.
accept the first reading
With change
With
amendments.
changes. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Robbie.
Awesome. Just gotta make sure we know what we're voting on before we vote, right? So does everybody understand now? We're voting. The motion is to accept the first reading with the changes
Yeah.
discussed
All right.
that Marco has
Right here.
noted down.
Yeah.
All in favor?
All those in favor? All right.
I saw that.
I know you're like.
That's good, man. Oh.
We haven't done enough policies this year to really know.
I feel like we've done a good job with the policy committee this year. Are you saying that we're
We
not
didn't-
doing a
we-
good job?
We did. Those are words you put into my mouth that do not exist.
Ha.
We did way more policies last year.
Huh.
Last
They
year.
were,
Yes,
I
and-
think they were easier.
If I may, I think that I made the change over to this policy committee, and I think that in the past we rushed through.
Oh, I'm
I
glad
think we took a lot of policies verbatim from
Taking our
the
time.
sample policies, and I really think that the policy committee has done a really good job this year of continuing to
Pleasure.
revisit them, make revisions, do some research, and so I think that there's just been a lengthier process for us. But I think honestly that's a good thing.
I agree. That is a really good thing. It's just we haven't done this very much this year. Why is that automatically a bad thing?
it's going to show up in my
It's for that superintendent evaluation.
in my
we're due in
evaluation.
All right, so now we're all set with that. We can move on to our committee reports. We had 8.1 finance and facilities.
Oh,
Oh, you need your mic.
The Finance and Facilities Committee met today at 6:30. I'll go over the facilities stuff that we covered first. Under the end of year projects, at the high school, crack and fill, repair, and seal coat the driveway. Libby Tozier, crack and fill, repair, and seal coat all. Carrie Ricker, pre-K fence around playground. High school, ceiling insulation around the wood shop, tech room. Carrie Ricker, Libby Tozier, access road repairs. Playground wood chips at the middle school and Libby Tozier. High school sprinkler, the glycol section. And the high school auditorium door lock is going to get fixed. Middle school field grub control, part of our maintenance project there. And high school, middle school playground shed complete maintenance. And middle school K. Ricker water bottle fill station. Marco touched on the lighting for the football field. And that was it for facilities.
All right, thanks, Robbie. Any questions?
Well, hang on. As
finance.
far as finance goes, everybody got their packet. So instead of me just chirping about covering stuff that's already been covered, if you have any questions about the finance piece, everything is going along steadily. You can ask those questions.
Thanks, Robbie. Go ahead, Teresa.
When Sue spoke a little bit earlier about we really need the high school entrance door situation fixed, is that what this is? The high school door lock fixed? Is that the same thing or different?
No, that's so there's a door to the auditorium. It's an internal door that's original to the building, and probably the lock is pretty close to that too, and it doesn't latch or lock appropriately. So that needs to be repaired, especially in regards to any safety or security issues that may come about in the school. It's been, it hasn't worked correctly for quite some time.
So the door fix she's speaking of is not in our scope right now?
That's
don't
correct.
have the money for it?
That's correct.
Talking about the main entrance door.
Yep.
So that'll have to be a next year budget item?
Well, we'll do some research on it first, Teresa. Definitely, that's not a problem. We can do that. Yep.
Marco? The only trouble is when we put the outer door in years ago, you had to buzz your way in, and then you're caught in between that little lobby area because there was originally no door, no outer door. It was only the main doors going in, and then we added those two doors. The design of any school that's over 25 years old was not designed. We had the big plate glass windows in the front. We've put aluminum at the bottom of them, so people just can't, because you could literally see what's going on in the school from the parking lot. Now, that's not safety glass there. It's, you know what I mean? Buildings just were not designed with that in mind 25 years ago or 50 years ago now for Oak Hill. So it's going to take a lot to change and, but getting the door fixed is a plus.
Go ahead, Scott.
Thank you. I know this is not kind of we got way off topic here, but I drop off at the high school every day, and my concern is not the types of doors or like if they're locking properly. The real concern there is that there's nobody standing there. There's no gatekeeper. Okay, so I could walk through into that school in the morning. There's no gatekeeper there. There's nothing saying that you can't just walk right in. It's wide open, right? Whereas like at the middle school, there's at least 2 staff members standing outside, and they're kind of the gatekeeper. They have that, if somebody were to want to do something harmful, they have that small buffer of opportunity to get inside, lock down, what have you. They're the eyes out into the parking lot. This isn't happening at the high school level. That's not what happens at the high school. So,
but
in the office, when you go through you go through the front doors. The office is down around the corner, right? It's sort of a different setup. It would easily be fixed by having a staff member or 2 outside the building, or even between the 2 front doors, between the immediate outside door and the door into the building, because there's double doors. Even if they're just to be posted there, there's just nothing.
we could.
Yeah.
It's a very easy, free fix.
Marco used to stand there every day greeting kids, and when I was subbing, he would greet coming in. So maybe that's not the same.
Yeah, what Scott's taught. I mean, the difference was I was most of the time inside the
Yeah.
building. Do you know what I mean? Right at the
Right
front
inside.
doors. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was right at the front doors, and it was for that same purpose, Scott. What you're talking about, right? Like I was able to keep eyes on people that were approaching the building. You know, the kids coming in off the bus. You know, my favorite thing was to watch the kids in the parking lot, and then like intervene in any cookies or donuts that were going on in the back parking lot.
Trading cookies.
with affection. Yeah, but I understand where you're coming from, Scott.
Well, I will
Yeah.
say the deterrent, though, that although there is not a gatekeeper there's nobody that has eyes. There is a sheriff's vehicle parked out front most of the time, like 99.9% of the time, and that's your deterrent right there. Is just physically having that vehicle present.
I appreciate you saying
and
that,
knowing
Scott.
that there's
Yeah.
somebody in the building. But it doesn't mean you couldn't access it if
Right.
you wanted to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sue didn't go into specifics. She just, so I wasn't sure what the issue was.
Yeah. Right. No, I appreciate you asking, Teresa. Yep.
Anything else? All right, and then we have CAI technology.
Yeah. Tonight we met with Shelley, Dennis and I, and Shelley showed us a literacy program that is going to be piloted next year. 1 teacher at each grade level, K through 4, will be piloting a program called Amplify. I wish I was still in the school, because the things that I see in its units are things that I could see my boys really getting excited about, because it embeds science and social studies right into the curriculum. Right now we are currently using 4 different reading programs, and writing, literacy, the phonemic awareness, and if you have a new teacher in the district, it's really tough because she has to learn 4 different programs. This program encompasses all of them. So it's going to be great. The 5th grade was included in it at the beginning, but because the amount of time that it takes to implement this program is more than the 5th grade teacher can give to a grade level, because she switches classes, that it's just not feasible for her to do. But because they're piloting this program next year, her teachers will be, those that are doing it will be trained enough, so in the following year, if they decide that this is the way to go, then she will have them as trainers for the other teachers, and I think this is phenomenal.
Any other questions or comments? All right, board member comments. Quiet bunch tonight. Okay, go ahead, Robbie.
Yeah, I'd like to thank staff and for getting through another school year successfully. Graduation, I watched it online this year, and it's just an uplifting experience to watch our program. And I've had other parents or relatives that have had kids graduate from other schools say, I can't believe Oak Hill goes to that extent at graduation. You know, the passing of the flowers and, you know, all the scholarships and, you know, so it's always good to hear that our program is, you know, well received. And that's a good, it's a good feel good at the end of the year.
Thanks, Robbie. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I just want to thank Doug for his service to the board. Although we didn't always agree, I respect and appreciated your input and your opinions. They were valuable. And I hope to see your face at future meetings. So thank you.
Go ahead, Diane.
I'd like to say thank you to all the staff this year and the students and parents for doing a wonderful job in this year. I'd like to thank Marco and Sam for all the work they did on the budget and the SRRF fund. And it's exciting that we're starting a new school year with the budget already in place. That's going to really change our morale, even with parents as well. I'd like to congratulate the girls tennis team for really showing the community how well they have done. Sportsmanship award is something to be really proud of.
Thanks, Diane.
And thanks, Doug.
Go ahead, Matt.
I just wanted to congratulate all our graduates and all of our students and all their successes this year. And a huge thank you to all staff in helping them achieve their goals. And a shout out to the Oak Hill Middle School Drama Club. I attended the Wizard of Oz production. Both shows were sold out, and it was a huge hit. When I say sold out, it was packed house. It was by donation.
Thanks, Matt. Go ahead, Teresa.
I agree with everyone's comments. I wish every child, parent, staff member a great summer, however long it may be. May you come back refreshed. And also to thank Doug. I think he really cares about the kids in our district, and I will miss you. You're a wonderful colleague to have in Litchfield.
Thanks, Teresa. Anybody else?
I just want to say one thing. I went to graduation, and my husband came with me, and he was just taken. He's like, it was amazing that such a small school can be such an intimate ceremony, and how great it was. I got to see a lot of the kids that I had as second graders and third graders, and then they came over to see me after, and I got to ask them where they were going for schools and stuff and what they were going to be studying. It would be great if we had something like that with all the kids listed and what their future goals were, so that the community can really see what our kids are going to be doing. I know there's like one of the students is going to New York. She's going into forestry. One is going to Penn State, an Ivy League school, to study political science. Another one is going to Georgia. So it would be really great if we could have a list of the kids and where they're going, even if it's in the work field. It doesn't matter, but I think that would really help cement how well we are doing in our schools with our students.
Thanks, Diane. Anybody else? Oh, go ahead, Doug.
I didn't plan anything, but I do want to say that having gone to several schools, I have kids in all four different schools and stuff, is that all the staff, I'm very impressed with what I see with all the staff. You can tell the amount of work that goes into all of it. And my children all love everything that they do in the schools, which I think is amazing to hear positive things, from the whole gambit of stuff. So it is noticed, and I think it should really resonate with any of the staff that's listening to this, that you are making a difference and that you're efforts are not in vain, you know, because it can feel it sometimes. But just the stuff that has had to be dealt with this year, kudos to all the staff members. The amount of respect that I can try to give you guys is never feels enough, you know. So I'm trying to say it now. I appreciate all the sentiments from everybody for being on this. It's definitely not what it appears on the surface when you start becoming a school board member. It's got some trials and tribulations as you go through, but I definitely would have done it again. And that, you know, being said, because you learn a lot, and it is, I think, good for, I think almost everybody should be almost like jury duty, you know. We should all have to do it. It makes you so much better as a person and as a citizen, you know, being involved in this process. So I highly encourage anybody that's on the fence, if anybody's listening, the next go around, next seat that's open, you know, try to like get involved and at least learn how to get involved. I think it's a big deal, you know, with everything. So I appreciate it. Again, I appreciate all the sentiments and stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. So unless anybody else still wants to go, I'll go ahead. Same thing, obviously. It's been great having you here, Doug, and I do look forward to still seeing you on field trips because our kids are in the same grade, so we see each other all the time.
I'm always like, Nicole.
All the time. But of course, always hoping that you come back here and see us here, and don't miss us too much on those late nights when we're talking, you know, certain things. And we're even a slow night. We're almost at 8. I do want to thank each and every one of you. Chrissy's not here this evening. We do have one more meeting for this school year, so I'll probably thank you again that time. But your efforts, your dedication, your commitment to being here, showing up, your input is very valuable, very appreciated. And I think that this board has really improved over the past year, just, you know, to be able to have some fun and still get some stuff done, because you don't know what you sign up for. So don't tell Joe that, you know, he doesn't know what he signed up for. Joe Veloso, I think, is how you pronounce it. You know, we've already had the conversation how I pronounce everybody's name wrong. But, you know, Dennis didn't know what he was signing up for, and he almost regretted it at the very beginning. I said, don't, just hang in there. And of course, thank you to all of the RSU4 staff, including Marco, who's not going to get rid of me that easily. We're going to still meet every week, right? Everybody at Central Office, you guys really have done amazing things this year. We truly appreciate it. All of the staff. My children are very happy. They had a great year. I apologize to their teachers because they are not easy children. And they took it with stride, and they did great. They're 2 teachers, so I appreciate everybody here. It's not fun all the time, but a very respectable thing that you do, as well as, you know, the teachers and the staff and bus drivers, and, you know, we have a sub bus driver right now, so even the subs, they're all great. I did mention last week that you're going to have a board evaluation coming in soon. Chrissy and I weren't able to get together, so you got a little bit of a pass. I'm not sure that we'll have it for the 24th. I don't know what our first meeting. Who's chuckling at me? Oh, you don't have. I think that I should still have to have Doug do it. What do you think?
Exit survey.
Exit survey. Yeah. Perfect.
I thought you guys just liked me being
I don't have our next year calendar handy. When is our first meeting in August? We'll be here the 24th, but you could that might be when we're gonna look to launch.
Right, organizational meeting. Yeah, in August.
Yeah.
Usually it was the Wednesday prior to school starting.
Is
so
it
like
prior to school?
Whatever so it's the 24th is the Monday, 26th.
August
So
19th.
19th. Thank you.
So we'll look to have it launched at that point in time. But I'm still gonna ask Doug for his I mean, how many years were you here? So definitely want to get your input. And yeah, that's it. And I already said it when our future meeting is. So without objection, adjourned. 7:57. What? Yes. We need.